Trying.
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
And we're live. It's good. So, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Terry. How are you? Tell me some news.
Well, I'm all right, Paul. Thank you. Some news. Well, from Monday, May 4th, they're going to begin easing the restrictions on quarantine. And so that's really new. I just hope that people understand that doesn't mean that it doesn't mean that everything's okay. And people really, if people aren't careful, if they don't take it very seriously, we will be on quarantine again and for a longer time. So it's a big change and we are making a lot of progress. But at the same time, if we aren't really careful, we could go way back. So
Hi, Ricardo. Welcome. I agree with you, Terry. As I was just telling you, I went to do my shopping today, so I was nervous about even making the lesson on time. And unfortunately, I came across an open market, and there was no police and there was no patrol. And for me, it's like defeating the purpose as well. So, as I said, guys, if you who are we? We're only just two people doing a webinar, but avoid open markets, please, because it's just defeating the purpose. Anyway, today's lesson is based on change and progress, probably relevant to the current trend that's happening at the moment. Terry, can you please tell us a big change in your life and why? And guys, feel free to progress as well.
a big change in my life. Well, God, I've been inside for 2 months. That's the biggest change in my life. It's my life changed in one day. I went from doing whatever I wanted and going to work 5 and 6 days a week and doing my shopping when I wanted to being completely restricted. And that's a huge change. What about you? What changes have there been in your life? Oh, you've had some big changes. What changes have you had in your life?
Well, recently my biggest change was that I changed flat and I now have a garden. And obviously, on days like today, it makes a massive difference. And I apologize to those who don't have open space because I know how difficult it is. But for 5 weeks, I had no balcony, I had no fresh air, and it's probably made me happier now without realizing. So just that's been the big change for me, and hopefully now on May the 4th, just as I said, individually, I'm planning on running every single day and for an hour in open space and just enjoying the fresh air. So that's something to look forward to, and I guess it's smart working as always, and it's something extra. It's like an extra bonus that we can add to our day, and I hope especially people in the north, in Milan especially, or in Lombardy, that they are finally given that bit of freedom because they've been on lockdown longer than us, 9 weeks, not 7. So,
It's true. So we have a lot of people with us. We have Sabrina from Genova, Luisa from Monza, Flavia from Rome. Excellent.
All right, just gonna move on to the next slide. So here we go. Sometimes I disappear and come back because I don't have two screens to share. Okay. So here, can you please read the lesson, Terry?
Sure. Change and progress. In this focus activity, attitudes to change, changes in technology, changes in your city, Italy, and the world, and predicting the future. Predicting
Okay,
the
well, Louisa,
future.
thank you so much for sharing. Yeah, it's just an ironic. It's an ironic. Slide, to be fair. Louisa, wonderful. So recently, Terry, could you correct this? So recently, I have bought. Maybe I would say as using the present perfect.
Recently, my big change. Well, I don't know. I would use the past simple. I would say, and this is a big change between British English and American English. In American
Okay.
English, because the action of buying is finished, so is the time of buying. Recently, my big change was to buy or was buying a new flat. I know in
Hmm.
British English, if it's something that happened in the very, very recent past, you would use present perfect.
Or even when you said the past continuous structure, I actually think that's the best. Recently,
Was
my big
buying.
change was buying a flat. I think that
Mm,
I think it sounds better. Yeah, I mean, in
it
Ireland, we
would
would
be.
say that as well. Okay,
Okay.
so Louise, you've got a few possibilities there. And then Sabrina says, and hello, Flavia, as well, if I didn't say hello to you and to Louise as well. The big change in my life was 2 years ago when I moved to Genoa. Okay. What's Genoa like? Sabrina, can you describe it to us? And Terry, have you visited Genoa? Yes or no?
I have visited Genova.
Mm,
I visited Genova for 5 years ago at Christmas
okay.
time.
Wow. And tell us, how was your experience there?
It's a beautiful, beautiful city. Genova
Mm,
is. I visited Genova. I have visited Genova twice now that I think about it. The second time was also Christmas time, but 2 years
mm-hmm.
ago. And Genova is on the sea, and the historic city center is just spectacular.
Yeah.
Monica from Novara, welcome.
Mm. Welcome, Nevada. Or welcome, Monica. Sorry. Okay.
Have you ever visited Genova?
I haven't. It's on my to-do list, but I guess right now, let's just
Hmm.
enjoy wherever city we're in. So Florence, it is, I guess, for the summer. Um, okay, Louise, I visit. It's a great city. Thank you, and very good present perfect as well. And I like the use of several times. Well done.
Well done. I
Okay,
agree.
so moving on. So Terry, can you please read? We have three questions here, and I'll just make it. Oh, I think it's quite okay. Can you read the three questions?
Sure. How do you usually react to change in your life? Are you good with new technology? Do you prefer things to remain the same or do you need change?
These
Hmm.
are some interesting.
Now.
So, guys, respond to questions one, two, and three. So, Terry, how do you react to change? Well, I suppose you answered that question at the beginning of the lesson. How have you? Here's it. I suppose we want to be talking about something positive. Will there be anything positive you can take from this experience? Yes or no?
Oh, I absolutely. I think something we can all take from this is I hope, a renewed enthusiasm and gratitude for our health.
Mm,
I think often we just take for granted when we feel good. We feel good. We take it for
mm,
granted, and I think there's a lot of things people have missed.
mm,
Um, so I usually react to change. Depends on the change, I would say. Um, I was not well when the quarantine started. I was
mm,
sick for 5 weeks.
mm,
Um, so that change of being sick, I don't react well to that kind of a change. I get very cranky, scontrosa, cranky.
yeah, it's a nice word.
Um, the quarantine, though, really gave me the time I needed. I worked online. When I wasn't working, I could sleep or rest. So
Mm,
that particular change, the first 4 weeks of quarantine for me, were actually a blessing.
okay. And do you prefer teaching online or do you prefer teaching in person?
I prefer teaching in person. However, I think that for the upcoming month, maybe even 2 months, while we see what happens with the easing of restrictions, I think I would prefer to remain online because I don't want to be sick again. When I got sick, I was sick for 5 weeks.
I
It's
agree.
a risk I don't want to take.
Well, I think, to be honest, like, I think it's hard to just like talk about what's going to happen next. I mean, like, I think the next stage, to be honest, is just hoping that like we can visit our friends and stuff, because I don't think that's still possible. So like just taking one day. But I suppose like the fact that like people can find, I'm just thinking of those who don't have a garden and who don't have a balcony and who just need to leave the flat for 1 hour or 2 hours, or so be it. I'm really happy for those people, because I know exactly what it's like to be in a house or in a flat where maybe you don't have a good relationship with your flatmates, which is something that I didn't have as well in my previous one. So it was just really stressful.
Imagine.
So I really do hope that like people just get a bit of normality, a bit of sun in their like vitamin C, vitamin D, like all that, even vitamin D, excuse me. I really do know what it's like. Okay, so Flavia says it depends on the change, but big changes can be shocking at the beginning. For instance, change to city when you change your city, or
Or changing cities, you could
yes,
say.
change the city. Thank you. I completely agree. At the beginning, it can be a big culture shock. Although I would say that when I moved to Florence, it was pretty easy because I went straight into work. And you know, I had my routine with my gym, and I was going out, and you know, once you get into routine pretty quickly. But yes, Flavia, it really can be a big culture shock. When I lived in Brazil, it was a different world. There was poverty right in front of me, left, right, and center. So it was a big change. For some things that I saw. What about you, Terry? Can you reflect on Flavia's comment? I think it's a really interesting comment. Well done, Flavia.
I think that big changes are really shocking at the beginning. Moving to a new country, even especially moving to a new country, is culturally, emotionally, it's difficult. But I think that I think you just depends on how you acclimate, how you react has a big impact on whether you succeed or not. And that's kind of why I went to Monica's comment. She says I usually react. We wouldn't say good. We would say I usually react well. Think about act as in react, as in comportare. And if you're talking about act, react as in behavior, comportamento, we use the adjective well, not good. I usually react well because I think when you change, you have new opportunities, maybe, which
I think
is exactly why we often go to a new country, right?
I think even I usually react well to situations. React is a verb, and the adverb of good is well, because you did well in an exam.
Exactly.
But the problem is here is many people make this mistake. You will see people in movies. You will see people like, you're interested in watching Sky Sports News, and you see managers speaking, and you often see
He did
sorry,
good.
he did good, and I don't like
Oh,
it, but it exists, you know. He did
oh,
good. You listen to it in music. You listen to it in I, for example, when I do my online exercises, and I follow like the instructor, and she's like, "You did good. You did good." It's like, no, you did well. But I think
exactly. It
many
it
people
hurts.
are.
It's common, it's normal, Paul, but it still hurts my ears.
Me too. I don't like it either. But it's not good, by the way. It's not good. But people, you hear it a lot. Even natives don't know the difference.
Tell me, it's true.
Okay.
Change of change of course, not off course.
Mm.
Change of course could be positive or negative. Of you,
Mm.
I need some help here, Ricardo. Can you redo this a little bit for us?
Yeah, change of course could be positive or negative. Of course, or maybe change. I think he maybe said of course twice, and I think he's trying to say change can be positive or negative, and maybe it depends on how you react. I think that would make more sense. Or change
Okay.
could be positive or negative. Of course, it depends on how you react. I think that's what he's trying to say. As a nice discourse marker as well. Interesting.
Okay.
Sabrina has
Good.
also made a comment. I don't know if we've done this. In my experience, I have experienced a lot of changes. I would change the verb. I have experienced a lot of changes, and at the beginning, I feel a bit. We need an article. I feel a bit anxious, but usually I make the best choice. Okay, so I'll work on the correction here.
So,
So in
Paul,
yes.
a question for you. I don't know that. Okay, so
Oh wait, in my
Sabrina,
experience.
Sabrina has used fare 2 times, and I think that you could say I have made a lot of changes in my life.
Okay, that's true.
So, staying with that verb fare, I have made a lot of changes.
Mm-hmm.
And at the beginning, now, wouldn't you stay if you made these changes? Wouldn't you continue with the past? And at the beginning, I always felt a bit anxious,
Okay.
but usually I made the best choice. What do you think?
Yes, I agree. I was reading and typing at the same time. I can't do two things, so
I can't do it either.
I can't multitask, unfortunately.
I can't,
Right.
if my fingers are typing a letter, my brain is thinking that letter, and then I say something wrong or I type it wrong. I cannot type
Yeah.
and speak at the same time.
So can you repeat? So Terry, do you want me to write the comment, or will you write the comment?
I'll write the comment
Okay. Okay. No
so
worries.
you can continue speaking.
All right. So Ricardo, I think, has rewritten his message, but I just want to check if we quarantine changes our life, our habits. Full stop. It is a very big shock to remain at home for more than 2 months. Okay, I'll work on this one. So Ricardo, yes, I agree with you. Quarantine. I don't know how you spell it. Is it QUA or
Q
ANTIN?
U Q U A R A no Q
And
U A R E N T I N E. Oh my God, I have to see
how is
it.
the spelling B? Quarantine change
Quarantine.
changes.
Q U A R A N T I
I knew
N
it.
E. There we are.
Okay. Quarantine changes our life. Okay, and then I would have a full stop. It is a very big shock to stay at home. It is a very big. It is, Ricardo, for sure. So look, next week you have a free ticket to just do outdoor activities. So go for it. Run like the fire.
Yes,
Run like
but no.
well, run. No,
No. You
you can.
have. I wouldn't call it a free ticket.
Well, not
You
a free
still
ticket, but you.
you still have to take your declaration, your self declaration. You still have to. You can go further for the purpose of exercise, but if you are doing exercise like walking, you have to
Uh,
maintain 1 meter distance. If you are doing a strenuous exercise like running, you
uh,
must maintain a 2 meter
two.
distance.
Cool. Thanks for
So,
clarifying. How far can you run? Is the question.
um,
I think
you
within your
know,
area.
they are expanding it from your immediate area to enlarging the area, but it wasn't specific enough for me to really. I would not go I wouldn't go more than about 2 to 3 kilometers from the house.
No, I think that's what my intentions were. I needed to go only about to find the nearest park and like jog to there and then go to another park and just enjoy it.
Exactly.
Okay, thanks for clarifying. It's important actually because sometimes none of us actually know. Um,
Yeah.
Now we're in quarantine. Read it, Terry. Go.
Now we're in quarantine. Initially, I reacted because
Mm,
initially was the beginning. I reacted well because I was very happy to spend a lot of time with my family. For
mm,
myself now, sometimes I'm bored because I can't work, I can't swim. I understand, Monica. I have wanted desperately just to take a long walk and get some exercise, but I have not done it because from my window I see people without their masks and I just don't want to risk exposure.
mm-hmm.
How about Louisa?
Oh,
Do you want to read Louisa?
well.
Oops.
Oh, we think we're both clicking at the same time. Someone thinks that staying at home could give you new opportunities. I don't think so.
I think that everything depends on your frame of mind. I think it depends on how you look at it because I think while staying at home was definitely difficult, I think that it gave some of us a new appreciation for our friends. I think it
Mm,
gave us a new appreciation for our freedom. But I think also, and I hope, this is my hope, I hope that, so Paul, I was in the army, I was in the military for
yeah.
the United States. And the thing that I hope people take from this is an appreciation for their freedom, but also a new understanding that your freedom comes with responsibility. It's a
Mm.
balance. And you can't say, they took my freedom, if you aren't willing to take your responsibility to do your part for the better good of all of society.
I agree, but what can be frustrating is when you are genuinely doing your bit, staying at home, wearing a mask, wearing gloves, maintaining 2 meter space, and then you come across what I saw this morning was when I went to Penny Market and a bunch of people in an open market, uh, like as an excuse to just like neighbors were fighting, people were. It was just frustrating. But anyway, what can you do? Sure.
Well, I just hope people take more appreciation for what they have and remember that freedom comes with responsibility. And
Mm,
because I saw it often in the United States, these protesters, no, you can't make me stay at home. I have my freedom. Well, yes, you do. But then to go outside and protest, that's true, it's your freedom. But do it with a mask, do it with gloves, and keep your personal space. Keep that 1 meter distance so that you aren't infecting someone else.
as I said, every country has got their flaws. I think in Ireland recently as well, there was some court case, and it wasn't obligatory for people to go, but people still went anyway. They found like a loophole in the net because sometimes you have to go by law. And there were these people who went and they had like these patriotic flags of being like with the Irish flag being like we don't want to stay at home, and we're kind of like it's mad. And also in Ireland as well, because people are staying at home, a company hired about 200 people from Bulgaria, flew them into Ireland, and are paying them €5 an hour to pick berries. And there's absolute uproar that this was even allowed happen, given the quarantine and lockdown. It was crazy. So things are
Ay, ay,
happening.
ay.
Things are happening left, right, and center. Um,
I just
so
think we have to do our parts.
exactly.
Hmm.
Okay, Monica says here, the government stopped my freedom. 2 months at home is very difficult. But Monica, with all due respect, it's not just in Italy; it's in everywhere. I mean, Ireland was 1 week later; we were in lockdown, and I think Italy is probably going to be one of the first countries to actually reduce any restrictions if we continue the way we are. In Spain, it's an absolute disaster at the moment.
Yes. Okay, so Monica is already answering the question here on the slide. Which areas of life are most subject to change? She says friendship, love, relationship, habits, job. Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah,
They are the
absolutely.
yeah, they're the most common ones that that change our lives. Jobs for sure. I also count my blessings that I get to occupy myself every day, even though sometimes it can be stressful teaching online due to my connection, as Terry is famous for it. She knows herself when sometimes I disappear from lessons, but like, you know, that we get the opportunity to occupy 3 or 4 hours a day and get to teach, and we get to do something as well. We're very lucky.
Okay. Something that, Sabrina, this is important. So we have choice and choose.
Mm,
Choose is the verb, choice is the noun. So I have to choose the best opportunities that fit better for me. Okay? Choice, I have a choice. I
mm.
to choose.
You can use
So I have
make as well, Terry, right? You
what's
make a
that?
choice as well. You can
You
use the
can make
verb
a
make.
choice.
Yes.
Yeah, I have to make the best choice for
Mm-hmm.
me. So, with only changing one word to choose the best opportunity, you could say.
Absolutely. I agree. Okay. And oof,
Wow.
I suppose everyone is there. Louisa, my dad is asthmatic. My sister's a nurse. My sister's working at the moment in a hospital where 4 or 5 people are infected. And, there's a big risk. I suppose it's just the way it is.
We should all be very careful.
Mm. Okay, Monica says tastes. Okay, tastes. Okay, so cool. All right, let's see what the slide says. Interesting. So Terry, can you read the slide, please?
Which,
Shifting sound.
okay, which of these kinds of change are hardest to get used to? So we can't do pairs, obviously, because you're there, we're here. So go ahead and just write your comments. So put these in order of difficulty, or at least tell us for you which you think is the most difficult. Change in romantic relationships, change in friendships,
Hmm.
change of city or home, change in technology, change of job or study, change in fashion, change in way of life. So Monica, you talked about your list included 4 of these. So really great.
Hmm.
Which do you think is the most difficult and why? So Paul, which for you is most difficult?
I was actually thinking that one. Change in friendships, because if you move to a new city and things are not going well for you at the beginning, you often think back to what your previous friends were like. For example,
True.
in Seville, I had the perfect balance between flat and work and schedule and routine. And every time I came back, I had the most amazing flatmates, and we always ate together. And because each one of us had our own routine, they were either studying or doing internships, and then at night we would just meet, and it was so fresh. And now when I moved to Florence, unfortunately, when I moved into my flat, everyone was kind, but there was no. It was like I felt like a stranger in my own home, basically.
Oh,
So
that's very difficult.
exactly. So it's something that takes time to get used to. But now I'm much better because my flatmates are nicer and I've a lot more open space. So I'm getting used to this change as well. What about you, Terry?
Well, I think that change in romantic relationships is probably, I think it depends on how long the relationship has been. If the relationship has
Mm,
been 6 months or 8 months, it's not as difficult. But having been married, I think that for me, the most difficult change to get used to was going from being in a long-term marriage to being single. And
Yeah.
because it impacts your way of life. It impacts where you live. It impacts who your friends are, because when you get divorced, sometimes you lose friends in the divorce. You split that up. It impacts your job. It impacts everything. So for me, that I would have to say that. Ricardo agrees. He
And
says,
Monica.
also, Monica, sorry, I missed that. For me, the biggest change, we wouldn't say first, Ricardo, because first is like first, second, third. We would say the biggest change is in the romantic relationships. Also, Monica, the biggest change, unless you wanted to say the biggest changes go first, second, third. If you're making a list, you would probably say the first would be the second. But if you want to say that it is the biggest. Would you
I
agree,
agree.
Paul? Okay.
I agree. Although I'm happy to be single at the moment, I'd rather be single than worry about some other person like complaining to me about, oh, give me, especially in quarantine. I don't know if you've seen a statistic in China, but the divorces have gone like up.
So my boyfriend is always at my flat. He has his own, but
Yeah,
he's always at my flat. And when, yeah, it's not easy. And so we've developed our own space so that it seems during
yeah,
the workday, he's in his space, I'm in my space. Because 24/7 for 8 weeks,
it's
7 weeks.
crazy.
Oh, dear God. Okay.
Even with flatmates that you don't get on with. Like, I mean, I don't know. You can probably see the difference in me now to like 2 weeks ago, Terry, when we were doing, and I was telling you I was so stressed about even moving flat. It was crazy. Like, by the way, if anyone needs to know, what I've done is perfectly legitimate because my owner of the flat is the same landlord as the flat where I am now. So that's why I moved. So not like I,
I don't
not like
think
I no, but like sometimes you get paranoid because like I was telling my friends and some of them were like, go for it. And others were like, oh, like it's a bit risky, blah, blah, blah. I mean, I
no,
don't
in
know.
fact, it's one of the things that was allowed if it was prearranged.
It was. So
So, but and I think it's difficult to be in a home with someone 24/7, even if you get on really well.
I think so.
But Louisa says change in romantic relationships, change in a romantic relationship or
Mm,
changes in romantic relationships
mm.
can be very hard. It depends on the situation, if there are children, if you are young or old. Excellent structure, Louisa. The only thing I would say is it's either going to be changes in romantic relationships or a change in a romantic relationship.
I agree. Louisa, you're doing really, really well with your punctuation. It's something that we really appreciate.
Really. Ricardo, where are you from again? Because yes, the impossible change is not on the list. We need the subject again. It is changing a football team. So, a short story. When I came
Mm,
to live in Florence, I was really active in getting to know the city and people. And so then after I met my boyfriend and life became more normalized, I found my football team. Well, my football team was his football team because I always watched football with him. And he is, pardon me, everyone out there, wait till the end of the story before you tell me how terrible I am. His team was Juventus. So I became a tifosa, fan of Juventus. And then I realized I live in Florence. The only city in Italy I've ever lived in is Florence. So my team must be Fiorentina. And so I have been a fan of Fiorentina since 2017. Okay. And so, but to make that change, his friends were angry at me because they are like him. They are Juventus fans. And so it really, changing football teams in Italy is a big deal. It's a big change.
I completely agree. I say that Antonio Conte is my favorite manager, and I get so much abuse. I mean, I think he's a fantastic manager. I'm sorry, guys. He was the Italian national manager, and he brought some respectability back, at least. You know, you guys were a disaster in the World Cup, so you just have to look back to the European Championships, quarterfinals, the last 8, and he had a young team. He also won many trophies with Juventus. He is the reason why Juventus are good today, in my opinion. Yes, by Luisa. Yeah, I completely agree. Actually, some good news that I did read. Apparently, maybe in June, football could be played, but in behind closed doors. And I hope it does happen, in my opinion, because in June or maybe July, because it might give someone something to do. Because I know Italians are crazy about football, so to watch a match might be nice, I guess.
But
It all
they did that for 2 weeks in March. They did that for 2 weeks in March. And for the players, it's just not the same to play in an empty stadium. And I went to watch a couple of the matches in a pub. And I don't have Rye. I don't have Sky at home. I don't have a TV. And so I had to go to a pub. Pubs will not be open again until June. And at that point, I don't know how much I would trust being in an enclosed space, trying to keep the social distance. How do you keep a social distance from your waiter or waitress when they bring you your... So I don't know. I think a little bit more prudence, a little more caution because football is a really social activity.
Well, I just think it would be good if people who have access to a television at home to watch a match in closed doors. I just trying to think of something. I don't know. As I said, I'm skeptical about it, but I mean, we'll see what happens.
I understand and I feel that too, but at the same time, I understand this. Football is, and tell me if I'm wrong. You are all Italians, I'm not. But what I've seen, and for me, it's this social aspect, missing that social aspect of being with other fans, even if it's at a pub to watch the game. Without that, it's really lacking something.
Okay, so as I said, these phrasal verbs are really, really useful. So we have on the left, I'll read, and then Terry can read on the right if you go. Oh, it's really, really hard to see though.
No,
Honestly.
I can see it clearly. No,
I can't, but not really.
I have my glasses.
I need glasses, maybe. Maybe I need glasses, I'd say. I actually think I need glasses. That's another thing to worry about. Okay, miss out on, get used to, keep up with, catch on to, make do with, and be left behind. And can you read the definitions on the right, Terry?
Sure. The definitions: to be up to date, to lose the chance to become lost or separated, settle for, be content with. Oh, I think there's a difference there. Adapt to, and to realize or become aware of.
Feel free to analyze the difference.
You
said, yeah, settle for. I think so, because you settle for it. Yes, right? I agree with you. No, I agree.
If you settle for something, you feel like you lost something. Okay, I'll take it.
Yeah.
If I'm content with it, I still may have had to compromise, but I'm content. I'm not content if I have to settle for something.
Exactly. I agree with you. Yeah. Make do with. Actually, I'm not going to say anything. I was about to give the answer.
No, Monica already answered number one. She did fabulously.
Monica,
And
you're a
then
machine today. Thank you so
also
much.
Ricardo. Good.
Yeah, I'll just get to the answers.
So to miss out on is to lose the chance.
Yes.
So if I had not moved to Italy, I would have missed out on the chance to meet Paul.
That is very, very true, and we don't want that to happen. My laptop is having some problem when I change the answers, so we could just orally tell them if that's okay, Terry, because
Fine,
I
that's fine.
paused and came back. But we've had 40 minutes without problems. It's a miracle today.
So it is. I was thinking that earlier. So Ricardo and Monica also said to get used to is to adapt to. So absolutely perfect. Way to go.
Correct.
Can
Keep going,
you
guys.
can you use get used to in a sentence, in a phrase?
I'm getting used to living at home.
Okay.
And notice, guys, that when you use get used to, it can be confusing. It's always followed by a gerund, okay? Get used to plus gerund. Because, sometimes we say I used to in the past, but that goes with the bare infinitive.
And usually when we use miss out on, you miss out on a noun. I miss out on an opportunity, miss out on a chance.
Exactly. So I'll just write that as well. Miss.
Or I missed out on meeting you. So again, if it's not a noun, it would be the gerund.
I'm actually gutted that we can't meet for our wine, Terry. I hope maybe this summer it might be possible.
With the correct social distance.
Do you think it might be possible? Maybe in June?
I think if we take a bottle of wine and sit out at a park, yes.
Yeah, but is that not breaking the rules?
Okay, so right now, we would have to maintain the social distance. We would have to wear the mask. This is what I don't understand as well. And we need to finish this slide, obviously, but they're hoping by June 1st to reopen some bars and restaurants. But to go out of your home, you have to wear a mask. So how can I go to a restaurant or a bar, keep my social distance, and wear a mask?
I don't know.
I don't either. So I'm waiting for more guidance.
And when we go to a restaurant, obviously we have to move our mask to eat. You know what I mean? So
Exactly.
just...
Okay, so to keep up with, to be up to date. Good, Flavia and Ricardo. Flavia also says catch on to is to realize or become aware. That's perfect.
Yes, welcome back as well, Flavia.
And Flavia's catching on to these phrases very quickly.
Exactly.
All right. Keep up with is be up to date. Catch on to. Monica, catch on to is definitely not to settle for. Catch on to, as Flavia said, is to realize or become aware of. Okay, so to settle for is something very
Just going to give them the answers.
Okay. So I can see that there we go. It's thinking, it's going. Okay.
Yeah, it's just me giving the answers, just so the guys can see this themselves. Okay, so these are all of the answers. But well done, guys. Really, really good participation.
Good. Now I'm just curious if they can use some of these in phrases.
Yes, so that's what basically the next slide is.
Haha.
I don't know if we've given enough time, but as I said, they've got the bones of 6 minutes to try and do it. So I'll just give Terry a nice breather of chatting for a second because she's been teaching already. So I'm taking the bait. So, guys, you have to basically think of the correct answer while I read. I find it tough to the pace of progress in technology. While all my friends the latest trends like tablets, smartphones, and other gadgets, I often find I don't want to the most recent changes in technology. I using new, what's the word?
Formats.
Formats and devices very quickly. Even though other people are happy to the next best thing. I just have to be up to date with everything.
Okay. I find
So,
it
guys, feel free to fill in the answers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Maybe put in a number next to it just to think of the answer. And Terry, there's an adjective here that says tough. First of all, pronunciation can be difficult because it's not how it sounds. And can you explain the meaning of tough, please?
Well, if you use it in this sense, I find it tough. It's the same as difficult. I find it difficult to.
Okay, thank you. Very good.
Okay, so in fact, I'm just trying to put these in the correct spaces right now. I find it tough to. And some of these need to be conjugated. So it's not just that you find it tough to miss out on the pace. No, we don't miss out on the pace, Monica. Again, number one, I find it tough to. So the pace is the tempo in which things progress, okay? Okay, Flavia, let's finish number one first. What was number one? Well, all my friends, the latest trends like tablets, smartphones, and other gadgets, I often find okay. Yes, Monica. Monica got number one. I find it tough to keep up with the pace of progress in technology. Number two, Paul. Flavia got number two and number three, and she correctly conjugated them.
Flavia, you're on fire. Yay. The sun is shining today in Florence. I hope the sun is shining in you've definitely had a good breakfast this morning anyway. That's what I always say. So Flavia, of course, I'm catching up.
Yes. Okay. So, correct, Monica, Flavia. I find it tough to keep up with the pace of progress in technology, while all my friends are. Sorry, Flavia. Number two. Number two is number one, while all my friends catch on to the latest trend.
I'm accepting keep up with the latest trends. You keep up with the latest trends for
Yeah.
sure. These answers are not concrete, as I said, guys. But like you keep up with the latest trends, you stay updated. So completely right. Don't worry.
Exactly. Catch on to, keep up with. Not the same, but here, absolutely. Okay, I often find I am left behind.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to finish the second?
Yeah. So I don't want to miss out on the most recent changes in technology. Using new. I find it difficult. Well, it's actually true in my case. I find it difficult, so I am left behind using new technology. That's definitely true in my case.
Monica, good. Oh,
I would also say I am left behind. Wait, I am left behind using new technology. I am. I mean, it's legit. I mean,
I don't know. I always find I'm left behind. I wouldn't use a verb after that.
probably.
I might say when it comes to using new technology, I am left behind. I don't know, Paul. I don't know. I've always used left behind at the end of a phrase or as a standalone. I am left behind.
Or I get left behind. I get left behind using.
I get left
Or
behind.
I feel left behind. I
Also,
feel. All right, guys. So that is basically it for today. Thank you so much to Monica, to Flavia, to Ricardo, to Louisa. I think that's Sabrina. I think that's everyone for your participation. Have a great day. We have to go, unfortunately. Ciao. Thanks, Terry.
thank you, Paul. Ciao.